Hey there, Kings. In my own personal quest to play more limited, I decided I'd like to do a video on Commander Masters Limited? Am I doing the thing right? I'm not sure. Anyways, Commander Masters, at the time of recording, is the next premium expansion to Magic the Gathering. It is a full reprint set outside of the Commander Precon cards, and looks to celebrate the Commander format by having not only some of the best of Commander, but also look to bring it to a more limited environment. Commander Masters has been designed so players can play both Draft and Sealed with the set. Now, while most of the rules for Draft and Sealed are the same, let's briefly go over how it differs. Instead of the normal 15 cards, draft packs of Commander Masters contain 20 cards. When you draft Commander Masters, each player picks 2 cards instead of the normal one. In the end, all players end up with a total of 60 cards, which is the same number of cards that they started with since each player gets 3 draft boosters. After, all players build a 60-card draft deck around the legendary creature or creatures that they want to play with and play games together. A unique rule to this draft format is that players are allowed to play any one or fewer colored legendary creatures as though they had partner. This is for the event that you draft a sweet deck but don't have that second legendary creature to tie it all together. Prismatic Piper is really doing work these days. So, since you know what is Commander Masters and how to draft Commander Masters, let's take a look at what to draft in Commander Masters. Commander Masters was designed around the 10 2-color combinations. Each of these combinations all have a unique theme and play experience from each other. I'll let you decide what you'll be forcing during your next Commander Masters draft, but for right now, let's take a look at all the limited archetypes you will see. Going in Wooburg order, the white-blue archetype is based around artifacts. Now, the best way to determine what archetypes are in a draft set is by looking at their gold cards, since those are almost always going to explain what you want to be building your deck around. White-blue has Hannah, Ship's Navigator, and Raph, Capuchin, Ship's Mage, as its gold card. Both of them want you to be casting and replaying your artifacts. Now in white, we have some strong Artifact Matters cards like Tashar, Ancestor's Apostle, Lashiel, Clockwork Scholar, and All That Glitters, while blue has Efficient Construction, Psi Master Thopterus, and Reverse Engineer as ways to reward the artifacts you cast like Shimmermere, Meteor Golem, and Inspiring Statuary. This is one of the many synergy decks you can build in Commander Masters Limited. It's a balancing act of playing your Artifact Matter cards and hoping they stick around, and following up with your artifacts so that you get a 2-for-1 value at the end of the exchange. Next, we have blue-black. Its archetype is Reanimator. The blue-black multicolor cards we have are the Scarab God and Taigam Sidisi's Hand. Both care about putting things into your graveyard, whether it's to reanimate them later on or to delve them away, at a chance of killing your opponent's creatures. If you want to draft this combination, look for your key cards. You want to reanimate big things like Ulamog's Crusher, Lorthos, or Sower of Discord as big finishers, or have cards like Body Double or Chainer Dementia Master as ways to get your monsters back ahead of schedule. Remember, the graveyard is a resource. Don't be afraid of playing your things out. The worst case scenario is that they will end up in your graveyard, which is exactly where you wanted them in the first place. The black-red archetype is Sacrifice. Keep an eye on one of its gold cards, Judith the Scourge Diva. Zancha is the other black-red gold card, and while she is a powerful legend, she doesn't exactly go into the Sacrifice archetype. Now, there are many moving pieces in this deck. You can sacrifice your Carrier Thole or Dragon Fodder tokens, sacrifice them to Rankle or Cabal Patriarch, and be rewarded for sacrificing them from your Bastion of Remembrance, Blood Aspirant, or Havoc Jester. This archetype functions kind of like a combo deck. Your sack outlets are nothing without the creature to sacrifice them to, and vice versa. Try laying a low profile, and you will be rewarded when you begin to machine gun everyone down. The red-green archetype is Power Matters. This archetype cares about the size of your creatures. This is showcased by its gold cards, Tuya Bearclaw and Zalortha, both of which want one thing: strong creatures. Red and green are well known for having big creatures, such as your Gargadon and your Rorix Bladewing, your Rampaging Brontoton, and your Galta. Payoffs for going with Power Matters includes Temur Battle Rage, Furious Rise, Ram Through, and Suruk Huntcaller, all of which are things that care about and want you to have big power creatures. Red-green also functions well as a ramp deck, so feel free to use your Elvish Mystics and your Elysian Caryatid as ways to get those big creatures out quickly. Green-white has a counters and a go-white strategy. Its gold cards are Hamza, Guardian of Arishan, and Miri, Weatherlight Duelist. Both are Creature Matters cards that want you to play to the board by either going wide or growing tall. Green cards like Bloodspore Thrynax and Rishkar care about counters, while Jade Mage and Namada Grove Guardian care about going wide. White cards like Wanderer Strike and Supply Runners care about counters, while Piana Nomad Captain and Audric Master Tactician care about going wide. Battle Screech, Elite Scale Guard, Armorcraft Judge, and Loyal Guardian are all great cards that easily slide into either of your green-white deck. Now, as simple as this strategy is, it's simply elegant yet powerful. Now, if you draft white-black, you are going into the Sacrifice deck. Your gold cards really push this theme. Both Teysa and Ariel are commanders that either care about making tokens or care about killing your tokens, both of which support the Sacrifice theme. Now, cards like Ministrant of Obligation and Coolcaller Gisa care about things dying, while Ancestral Blade and Edrixar give you things to sacrifice. Don't forget to throw in your synergy pieces like Savine's Reclamation and Yeheni, and other similar effects to enable your sacrifice synergies. Now we have Black-Green. This archetype is all about token. Our legends in this color combination are Marin and Slimefoot. Both work really great with the theme, as one makes you those tokens, and the other is a payoff for making those tokens in the long run. We have token generators such as Ogre Slumlord and Namada, which can flood the board. And if you want some payoff, you should look for cards like Whisper, Blood Liturgist, and Joel Rail as ways to either trade up your tokens or pump up the army you've already built. Next up, we have the green-blue deck. In a shocking twist, this archetype is based around ramping. Its gold cards are Experiment Kraj and Tadyova Benthic Druid. These legends reward you for ramping and give you a mana sink later on in the game. Green has the usual ramp offenders like Azusa, Beanstalk Giant, and Elvish Mystic to get you farther in resources so that you can cast your big spells like your Wildwood Scourge or Aminatu Zagri. This has a lot of late game padding, as you can use your excess mana in your mana sinks like Kaho and Ovia to make sure that all that ramping wasn't in vain. Please note that board advantage is scary to many players, so don't be afraid to throw in your deck a well-timed Cyclonic Rift if you're lucky to have picked one. Now we have blue-red. In another surprise, the archetype is Spells Matters. With gold cards like Melik and Mizzix, this archetype nearly builds itself. Fill your library with lands and spells or cards that care about spells. You have cards like Counterspell, Cryptic Servant, Deep Analysis, Factor Fiction, Frantic Search, Cyclops Electromancer, Faithless Looting, Gutter Snipe, Living Lightning, and Stormkiln Artist. These all care about instants and sorceries. It just gets better when there are multiples in your deck. Now all that's left is burning your opponent out or smacking them hard thanks to all the instants and sorcery shenanigans you have in your decks. Lastly, we have white-red. This archetype cares about equipment. Your gold cards, Akiri and Gisela, all care about suiting up creatures and smacking face with them. This archetype has two main cards. Creatures that care about equipment like Sunspear Shikari, Kemba, Champion of the Flame and Spikeshot Goblin, and the actual equipment themselves like Ancestral Blade, Mace of the Valiant, Dwarven Hammer, and Meteoric Rise. This archetype rewards you for playing the Voltron strategy, so don't be afraid to slow roll your threats. As long as you have your equipment on the battlefield, the creatures will always come to you. Don't be afraid to use cards I talked about in one strategy in the other ones. Cryptic Servants can go in either your Reanimator or in your Spells Matters decks. Corpse Augur can go in either the black-red or the black-white Sacrifice deck. Crash of Rhino Beetles can go in either the Power Matters or in your Ramp deck. There is a ton of multi-synergy cards, so carefully go over each card as finding that one extra piece can potentially bring up your win percentages. And that's a wrap on this brief overview of Commander Masters Limited. Now, if the price of sealed product is too much, try going to your LGS and play sealed or draft there. Remember, the next best place to play Magic that isn't your kitchen table is at your LGS. Please support those that try to bring Magic to your area. Do you guys plan on playing limited Commander Masters? What are you hoping to pull from the set? Let me know with a comment, a like, or a subscribe. Thanks for watching.